The producers are rushing to contain the damage, but the real kicker is that this might not just be about love and hip-hop. Sources close to the couple are leaking information about explosive fights, a scandalous ultimatum, and a big betrayal. Kirk, Frost, and Rasheeda have been the power couple of love and hip-hop Atlanta for years, but now they're calling it quits. Trust me, this isn't just some random decision. Something big happened behind the scenes, and fans are completely shocked. Shocking discovery that compelled them to leave. So what actually transpired? Why would Kirk and Rasheeda discard everything they had worked so hard to build on reality TV? And most importantly, is this the last chapter of their love story? Hold on tight, because this story has more twists than you could ever imagine. And by the end, you might never look at Kirk and Rasheeda the same way again. It all began with whispers of small, initially inconspicuous actions, but fans noticed that something was wrong because the couple hadn't been spotted together in public for weeks. The love and hip-hop community sensed it, but then a shocking leak appeared online. According to The Insider, Kirk and Rasheeda were done with the show. They weren't just taking a break or stepping back for a season. They were done for good. The news went viral, and just as fans were trying to comprehend what it meant, a bombshell show called Revelation was released, which rocked the entire reality TV world. Behind closed doors, everything had exploded. Despite the scandals, betrayals, and drama that broke their trust in the show, in each other, and in everything they had built. It all came down to one fateful night at a private event hosted by VH1 executives. The cameras weren't rolling, but the drama that played out was more bizarre than anything that has ever been shown on television. Kirk had been drinking, and tension was already high before the confrontation that changed everything. Rasheeda's voice was cold, and her eyes were burning into Kirk's. Kirk laughed, one of those nervous, forced laughs that immediately informed everyone in the room that he was caught. He muttered, trying to play it off, but Rasheeda wasn't here for the games, she knew, and she was going to expose him in front of everyone. The room went silent as she took out her phone, tapped the screen a few times, and then turned it around. A video of gas echoed through the room, and Kirk's face went pale. "I told you that," Rasheeda said. "If you ever embarrass me like this again," in a dangerously low voice. No one was certain what was in the video, but the reactions made it clear that it was Kirk's stammer, reaching for Rasheeda's arm, but she jerked away, her face twisted in pure disgust, her voice shaking with fury. Producers jumped in trying to defuse the situation, but it was too late. The damage was done, and Rasheeda stormed out, leaving Kirk standing there exposed, humiliated, and completely alone. Some claim it was a deal gone wrong about Kirk getting too close to the mystery woman. Others say it was something involving money contracts, betrayal, or whatever else. That was the night that everything changed. After that incident, Rasheeda refused to film, ignored producer calls, blocked Kirk's number, and even began speaking with lawyers. Word quickly spread that Rasheeda was finished, but this is where people didn't see it coming. Kirk retaliated by calling top executives and setting up meetings, even threatening to reveal show secrets if they didn't support him. He didn't want to lose his job, his salary, or his reputation as a major player in reality TV. But this time the tables had turned because the network had finished with him as well. When Kirk attempted to save himself, he was hit with something he never expected: a termination notice. A source close to production revealed that the network made their decision. Love and hip-hop is moving on without them. Concealed documents led to a report from behind the scenes that claimed Kirk had been causing problems for MKA. Allegations of manipulating storylines, refusing to follow contracts, and even getting into heated arguments with producers had piled up, and the higher-ups were tired of the drama. According to sources close to the matter, Rasheeda was done sharing the limelight with her husband and wanted something new, independent, and entirely on her own terms. The drama was just getting started, and she wasn't taking this lying down. In fact, she was already planning her next move, one that would completely surprise Kirk. Days after the scandal broke, rumors started to circulate that Rasheeda was in talks with another network, not just for a guest appearance on her own show. And this time, she doesn't need Kirk to carry a show, and everyone knows that. Some major networks are interested in working with her, but Kirk wasn't going down without a fight. When he learned of Rasheeda's private meetings, he lost it. She can't just walk away like that. Kirk was reportedly heard telling a close friend, "I built this with her. She's not about to leave me in the dust." But Rasheeda didn't care anymore. For years, she had played the role of the forgiving wife who would always be there for Kirk no matter what. This time, things were different. She had finished repairing things, tidying up his mess, and, most importantly, letting Kirk run her career. She had one last move, and when she did, Kirk didn't see it coming and was in complete panic mode. Losing Rasheeda was a nightmare for him. He had always relied on the fact that she would never truly leave him. But this time, Rasheeda had completely cut him off, wasn't returning his calls, wasn't coming home, and was already. The industry was ablaze with rumors that executives were seriously considering giving Rasheeda her own reality show, and Kirk was not included in the plan. According to a close source, Rasheeda has been meeting in private with producers, who are thrilled about the idea of a show that revolves around her life as a businesswoman, mother, and music mogul without the baggage of Kirk. Kirk couldn't handle it, and the moment he realized that Rasheeda was truly moving on, he went into damage control mode and began promoting his own narrative in an attempt to slant the facts to his advantage. Ranted in a private conversation that was later leaked online. "They want to turn her against me and make me look like the bad guy. I supported her from the beginning, and now she's acting like I don't exist." But nobody was buying it, not even the fans or industry insiders. And just when Kirk thought things couldn't get any worse, they did, because she had just done something unexpected. Late one night, she posted a mysterious Instagram story with the simple message, "You can only disrespect me so many times before," in white text on a black background. "We got your back, Queen. You deserve better. It's about time you leave that man." Within minutes, the story screenshots went viral, and Kirk was furious. He tried to repair the damage right away, going live on Instagram a few hours later to clear the air. "I don't know why people always want to jump to conclusions," he said, shaking his head. "Rasheeda and I have been through everything together, and you all truly think she's just going to get up and leave like that? Tom on now." But as he was saying it, the comment section was on fire. Kirk looked shaken when he saw her name appear, but then Rasheeda herself joined the live stream for a brief moment. "Okay, so Rashi is in here," he muttered, but she didn't say a word, didn't type a response, didn't join the live, didn't acknowledge him at all. Instead, she posted another message on her Instagram a few minutes later, saying something that didn't need to be then. The biggest shock of all, Love and Hip Hop officially removed Kirk and Rasheeda's names from the next season's promotional materials. That's when it became 100% real that they weren't just stepping away from the show, weren't just taking a break. They were completely erased from the franchise. She concluded by saying that the truth always reveals itself. Kirk realized he had lost control of the situation at that point because the network executives weren't contacting him. His calls were going unanswered, and the producers who had previously catered to him went silent. The producers' insiders revealed that Kirk had been contacting bloggers, claiming that he had real dirt on the show that could ruin careers, ruin reputations, and bring down the entire franchise. The most bizarre part was that he wasn't bluffing. According to one source, Kirk knows where all the bodies are buried and has witnessed things that would leave people speechless behind the scenes. If the show ended with him, he was done playing nice, so that's when he made a desperate move that would turn the whole thing into a full-fledged war. He began threatening to vex. Everyone thought the drama couldn't get any bigger, but then Rasheeda made her most audacious move yet, one that would completely surprise Kirk. She announced her own reality show, and the real kicker is that the first episode would be about her breaking free from Kirk Frost and Kirk. At first, Kirk didn't believe it, thinking it was just a rumor, but when the official announcement and teaser trailer were released, Kirk realized that this wasn't just some gossip blog speculation, but that it was a Rasheeda wasn't holding back in the teaser, which showed her sitting in a fancy restaurant and staring straight into the camera. Her voice was full of emotion as she said, "I gave my whole life to someone who didn't deserve me, but now it's my time." The screen then cut to clips of Kirk's past scandals, affairs, betrayals, and everything Rasheeda had gone through over the years. The final shot showed Rasheeda walking away after removing her wedding ring. The internet went wild, with fans claiming that this was the reality show they needed and that Kirk was spiraling because if Kirk thought losing Love and Hip Hop was bad, this was going to be much worse. He had been in charge of his marriage and Love and Hip Hop for years, and he had survived scandal after scandal that twisted the narrative and always managed to come out on top. However, this time he was slipping quickly, and the industry was turning against him. Rasheeda had played her cards too well, framing herself as the strong, independent woman breaking free, while Kirk looked like the bitter, washed-up villain attempting to drag. This is Rasheeda's redemption story. Meanwhile, Kirk's name was being dragged through the mud. Kirk was angry because he lost control. He's been playing games for years, and now karma is hitting. Perhaps if he treated her right, she wouldn't have left. The worst part was that the media had rallied behind her blogs, praising her for regaining control of her life. Female fans were cheering her on, calling her an inspiration, and even celebrities had begun showing her love. Turn against him, the more he became angry. Rasheeda had put him in a no-win situation. If he remained silent, he would appear weak, and if he clapped back, he would appear even worse. However, Kirk Frost had never been the kind to accept defeat, so he fought back against the scam. Late one night, Kirk was sitting in his office looking through social media. His brand was in crisis. He had spent years building an image of himself as the boss of the Frost Empire, the power player, and the businessman, and showed the world another side of the story. One in which she wasn't the victim, and one in which she wasn't so innocent. So Kirk began to leak information. He called a few industry bloggers, the same ones who had always written about his and Rasheeda's relationship, and who loved a juicy scandal. At first, they weren't biting the streets, lover Rasheeda, but one blogger told him that no one should hear him criticizing her. Then Kirk dropped the bomb, saying that you think she just left love and hip-hop on her own, but she was forced out. This caught their attention, and he sent them exclusive details, whispered rumors, and twisted truths. The strategy seemed to work at first. Headlines began to appear about Rasheeda being forced out of love and hip-hop behind-the-scenes drama, the real reason why she left, and for a brief moment, Kirk felt like he was back in control. But then Rasheeda struck back, rash EA's final move. The following morning, Rasheeda went live on Instagram. She was calm, confident, and unbothered sitting in her home office, perfectly made up, sipping on tea, and then she began the conversation, "I see Kirk out here." She smirked and said, "I see him trying to make it look like I was forced off love and hip-hop, like I wasn't the one who walked away." Then, she leaned closer to the camera and dropped the receipts, screenshots, and emails that showed she had declined a multi-million-dollar renewal offer because she was tired of being controlled. The internet exploded, and she revealed to him, "Kirk is done. How are you going to play dirty?" Rasheeda didn't stop there. Brought up all of Kirk's dirty tricks over the years, including how he had cheated, lied, and tried to control her by using her name, brand, and success to stay relevant. Then, at the last minute, she revealed that she was leaving love and hip-hop and starting her own reality show, a solo project with no Kirk and no drama, just her brand and her empire, and networks were vying for it. For the first time in years, Kirk realized that he was no longer needed. Rasheeda had outgrown him, and now the entire world knew it. The fallout was immediate. Industry leaders began to distance themselves from Kirk, stopped returning his calls, and the network that had previously supported him was done with him. Then came the fan reactions. This man attempted to destroy her, but she prevailed. He truly believed he could play Rasheeda Kirk Frost, the villain in his own demise, where Rasheeda had won and Kirk was going to lose. EVARGH swings home. The gravity of the situation finally set in. He had underestimated Rasheeda, believing that she would crumble under the pressure that her success was somehow connected to this presence, but it became painfully clear. There was a time when they truly worked as a team building their empire, before the fame, before the cameras, before the constant drama. Brick by brick, Kirk had always taken charge and made decisions for them both. But somewhere along the line, that dynamic shifted. Rasheeda had grown into her own, and now she was leaving him behind in the dust. He had supported her career, or at least that was what he told himself, but memories of their early years together filled his mind. While Kirk had been the one making headlines, Rasheeda had been the one building her brand and reputation. Now that she was succeeding without him, Kirk questioned whether he had ever really been in charge. Rasheeda had always been cunning, but in a subtle way. She knew how to navigate the dangerous waters of the entertainment industry, using every opportunity to her advantage. Now that she was reaping the rewards, Kirk had lost himself in the instant gratification of fame and scandal. While browsing, now that she had a publicly dissensual media presence, his fans loved her even more. His followers were dropping by the hundreds, and his comment section was full of venom. Every time he posted something, the industry effectively blacklisted him, and no one wanted to touch the toxic Kirk Frost brand anymore, not even the media outlets that had once supported his side of the story. Show unbreakable, the comments were full of love and support for her, praising her strength and resilience. Kirk's phone buzzed, and it was his manager, the same person who had supported him through numerous crises. But this time, the conversation was different. Luke, Kirk's manager, started being hesitant. The network has decided to pull out of any future deals, and it's not looking good. Kirk clenched his jaw. but he didn't say anything. The story was now turning their backs, and he was no longer the headline-grabbing figure he once was. Instead, he had become the butt of the joke. Huge hit. All the sponsors are supporting her now, and honestly, there's nothing left for us. He understood that the sponsorships, deals, TV, appearances, and everything else were gone. You have to understand that the industry moves quickly, the narrative is shifting, and it's all about Rasheeda. For the first time in his career, Kirk had no plan. He had always been able to maneuver his way out of a jam to spin the narrative in his favor. But now, no matter what he did, Rasheeda had the upper hand. Removed herself from the toxicity, leaving him to deal with the Fout and the fans they were raving about. In the world of reality TV, that was the kiss of death. He looked up from his phone and stared blankly at the wall. His once opulent lifestyle, the fame, the power, and everything else was vanishing. He had been so preoccupied with himself that he hadn't anticipated it. Rasheeda had quietly built her empire while he had burnt bridges one scandal at a time. As the days passed, the momentum of Rasheeda's show, Unbreakable, continued to grow, and billboards were all over the place. The first episode of Unbreakable was a huge success, attracting millions of viewers. Rasheeda's emotional and inspirational journey captivated audiences, and it wasn't long before she became the talk of the town. Social media was flooded with support, and the reviews were overwhelmingly positive. Critics praised her authenticity and resilience, calling her a role model for women everywhere. Meanwhile, Kirk was spiraling, and the media had shifted its focus to her. Completely to Rasheeda, and for the first time, he was left out of the discussion. Every article and interview focused on her accomplishments, her resilience, and how she had overcome the chaos he had caused. The industry had decided that Rasheeda was the future and Kirk was the past, but Kirk wasn't prepared to give up just yet, so he made the decision to face Rasheeda one last time. He needed to know how she had planned everything and how she had turned the entire industry against him. There had to be more to it than public opinion. There had to be some covered agreement she had made to bring him down. Showed up at her new production office without warning in an attempt to surprise her. Rasheeda was sitting at her desk going over the scripts for the upcoming episode of Unbreakable when he walked in. She looked up in surprise to see him, but she quickly took a deep breath and said, "What are you doing here?" in a calm but firm voice. "I want to know how you did it, how you got everyone to turn against me, how you turned the entire industry against me," she said, leaning back in her chair and crossing her arms. "I didn't turn anyone against you, Kirk. You did that all on your own, Kirk. You did that all on your own," Kirk scoffed. "You expect me." Rasheeda's expression softened for a moment. "Kirk, this isn't some conspiracy. People saw the truth, they saw how toxic things had become, and they made their decision. I'm not responsible for that. I'm just moving forward, doing what I need to do for myself and our family." He shook his head, refusing to accept it. "You played me, you played everyone." Rasheeda got up and walked around the desk to face him. "I didn't play anyone, Kirk. I finally started living for myself." When Kirk Frost and Rasheeda, the power couple of love and hip-hop, are officially finished, not just with the show but with each other as well, fans are in shock, the industry is buzzing, and the internet is still processing the information. But for the first time, Kirk saw the hurt in her eyes, the pain she had carried for years, the weight of his betrayals, and the toll they had taken on their family. And, for a brief moment, he realized that this wasn't just about him. "I'm not going to be the woman who stays in a broken situation just to protect your image. Our kids deserve better." One thing is certain though, this drama is far from over, and we'll be here to break down every twist and turn as it happens. What do you think about Kirk and Rasheeda's shocking exit? Do you think Kirk was sabotaged, or did he bring this downfall upon himself? Most importantly, do you think Rasheeda will ever look back, or is she officially done for good? The real question is still what will happen next. Will Kirk find a way to redeem himself, or is this truly the end of his career? We welcome your feedback in the comments section below. If you don't want to miss the next shocking update, please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable alerts. I promise you that the next part of this story will be even more exciting, so stay tuned.